Hello, Fun Nation. My name is James, checking in here with Team 27 Rush. This Hall of Fame team at the Michigan State Championship has an incredible robot. Really robust intake, really great hopper mechanism, their wide shooter. Currently 4th EPA in the world with 4 blue banners under their belt already. Just really impressive season so far. Here with me to learn more, I have Graham, Kaylee, Zachary, Ryan, and Ishan. Let's find out more on Behind the Bumpers. All right, let's start off, Graham. We're going to talk about some electrical features of your robot. Let's hear more.
All right, so this year on our robot, we decided to mount all of our electrical components on the bottom so we can save space for things like our roller floor and make more room for our shooter. And in order to keep all these components safe, we have a cover that is actually attached to our bumpers. So instead of adding more weight to the robot, we can add more weight to the bumpers, and that won't add anything to our inspections. For our mounting, we have things like our cameras, and we usually 3D print a lot of our mounts. So we have things like our breaker, our camera, and even our RSL are mounted using 3D prints. In order to keep electrical stability throughout this whole process, we make sure that we route all of our wires safely and make sure they're not colliding with anything. And we also we look at our whole system and make sure that nothing is unplugged and everything is working, and we troubleshoot it all.
Well, a robust electrical system is very important, right? And another subsystem that's really important to have a robust is the intake. And I think Kaylee's going to tell us a little bit more about that. The iterations you guys have done, let's hear more.
Our main intake roller is powered by 2 Kraken X44s with a 2.5-to-1 ratio. We also have a free spinning carbon fiber roller on top and 3 passive tubes on the inside. And because our intake is very prone to breaking because it's the fighting face of our robot, we wanted to make sure that it was very easy to fix. And another cool thing is that our hopper is driven passively by our intake.
Before we get to our next segment, we'd like to thank the following. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs and their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first. FRCT's Managed Store Program is an easy and profitable way to fundraise for your team or off-season event. FRCTs will handle everything from production, packaging, bulk or drop shipping, payment collection, and accounting. Teams can set their own prices, and FRCTs will take care of the rest. Fill out a quote request or get more information when you schedule a callback at frcts.com.
So Zach, really impressive intake mechanism you guys have going on here, but also a really impressive floor as well as the feeding mechanism into your shooter. Can you walk me through a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so our indexer and our floor are run by 2 Kraken X60s, one right here in the bottom and then one near the back by the indexer. Our floor is made out of 1-inch polycarb rollers, and these 5 have cat tongue on it. Our roller floor funnels the balls into a 3-wide shooter. So we see this piece over here that has dead axles with 3D prints on it, which funnel it into 3-wide. We also see in the back that it is geared up. So in the front, the angled part is a 1-to-1 ratio, and the back is about a 17-to-19 ratio. So it gears up and speeds up the balls into our shooter. Another thing you see is this free spinning roller right here. We originally had a pulley on it and a belt on it so that it would spin down, but we also had problems with jamming because it would shove the balls down and through, and we wanted to have it just go through. So this is here just to stop the balls from getting caught above this roller.
Very interesting. I haven't noticed that about your robot before, that one's free spinning. Can you talk me through maybe, lots of engineering's gone into this. What are some of the iterations you guys have gone through? Maybe other choices that you had explored along the way?
Yeah, so a couple of our ideas, like very from the beginning, we had like belt ideas, like sushi roll ideas. We ended up with this. We tried chain as well. So we ended up with a polycarb rollers that is all connected throughout. And that's been going really good for us. We haven't had as many iterations as you would think we have, but it's been really successful for us this season.
Absolutely, it has. Your throughput's really incredible. And important throughput's really good for a really good shooter, right? And Ryan, I'd love to hear more about the shooter and everything that's gone into this here.
Yeah, so our shooter, I would say, is a very powerful shooter. We're able to shoot from almost anywhere in the alliance zone and also be able to feed almost anywhere in the neutral zone. And how we got to that is, first, what's most important is actually being able to accelerate the fuel before they get to the shooter. So thanks to Zach's system, the feeder, they accelerate before they actually get to the shooter. So the shooter just giving the final boost to be able to pull them further. So how we do that is we have one main steel 3-inch drum that's run by 4 Kraken X60s and 2 hood rollers that are run by the same X60s. And we use one X44 for being able to adjust the rack and pinion style. And this is almost all actually made out of plastic SRPP. We did this for weight. Currently, our robot weighs about 113 pounds, so we don't have a lot of weight to work with. So we try to make everything as lightweight as possible, especially since we have a steel drum. And so what we actually do is our steel drum, since it's a 3-inch drum, the hood rollers actually spin about 2 times as fast because they're only 1 inch. So we use that and surface, because of surface area, to be able to have them not have too much of a backspin. We try to make it have as little bit of a backspin as possible. Another really cool thing about our shooter is it actually has variable compression depending on whether or not we are shooting from feeding or from the bottom. So between these aluminum rods and the drum is actually about 5/8 of compression. Between these carbon fiber rods that we use for stability and the drum is about 3/8 of compression. And our final compression is actually 1/2 inch between the main drum and these aluminum rollers. And why we did that is because we can make it a lot more compact and be able to fit this retrofit shooter into our robot, since our robot wasn't originally designed for the shooter. So we did something to make it actually fit in the space that we already had on our robot. And then the really cool thing about our shooter is actually that we're using a carbon fiber as structure to be able to have a lightweight but still strong option to be able to even take hits from the trench with our hood.
Really awesome job there, Ryan. This shooter has worked out really well for you guys. I understand you made a lot of changes to it. So I'm curious to learn a little bit more about the variable compression. What's kind of the value of that? Talk through that idea for me.
So the variable compression, the great thing about that is it actually makes it a lot more compact. So of course you'd want consistent compression, but when you only have so much space to work with, we found through testing and benchmarking off of other teams that you can actually get away with doing jumps, having different compressions with almost no effect on the output.
Really awesome. And in order to have such a complete and complex robot, you got to have great software, right, Ishan? Let's talk about some of the software features you guys have here for Rush.
So going through this year, we looked at the game as simply 2 things, auto and teleop. So I'm going to start off with our auto descriptions here. We want to keep our auto simple and efficient so we can score as many balls with time efficiency. So as you can see down here, there is a beam break right there that we do use to see while we are indexing. We use it to see our balls flowing through our robot, and if they are, that means keep shooting. But if they aren't, then that means we are ready to go to our next sweat. So that allows us to have some sort of time efficiency, so we aren't spending all our time with our timeout, just sitting there doing nothing, and we can actually go and pick up balls. That's the first part. And the second part is, in these last few competitions, we've seen that our auto, it has scored a lot, but it does have a lot of susceptibility to different robots either hitting us or angling us differently, and it really messed us up. We got beached or we would score barely anything. So we restructured how we do our autos in order to keep the drive team life very easy and also to keep our life really easy. We have a structure where we can choose autos, and we can also have any last minute modifications that we can add on the field so no one feels any stress and everyone is as ready as possible. Now, since like I said earlier, we split everything into an auto and a teleop phase. We're gonna move on to the teleop phase. So when we were thinking of teleop, we were thinking of how can we make the drive team use this robot to its max potential, but keep it as easy as possible for them, because the simplicity for them will make sure our robot is as efficient as possible. So things we did was since we're using the commands API for our code, we used and implemented different interruption behaviors for our intake. So how we have it in our priority queue is we have simple running the intake deployed and with rollers is at top priority. Then at a middle priority, we have an override agitate that our joystick driver has, so they can agitate fully and come back down. And then in our lowest priority, we have the default shooting agitate that was seen earlier in our system check. That is just a slow progression that goes up. We did that, and we did do a lot of benchmarking with our agitation, because we want to make sure that the drivers and the robot technically don't have to worry at all about any balls being left, and all our balls can be going through. Another reason we did benchmarking for the agitation is since we saw that our deploy speeds are kind of limited with our chain. So we have a profiling on it, Motion Magic, for a high velocity, and we added that so we're able to agitate very quickly and get balls through really quickly, so we can have a high throughput. And through that too, we also have a strong odometry system that supports us as well. Here we have our main Limelight, our Limelight 4, and we use that with lots of weighing and heaviness, mainly because of we are shooting with this orientation. So we accept the tags mainly from here. We also, during feeding and when we're in the middle and when our back can't see, we also have left and right line lights that are used as almost one entity with a fused pose estimate that we use to also get odometry updates from.
Really impressive features there, Ishan. Lots that goes into this robot, and it really unlocks such a high performance that you guys have. Over a 330 EPA, I think, right now. Just really incredible. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk with us today. We really appreciate it. And thank you all so much for watching. My name is James for the Fun Robotics Network, signing off.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. FRCT's Managed Store program is an easy and profitable way to fundraise for your team or off-season event. FRCTs will handle everything from production, packaging, bulk or drop shipping, payment collection, and accounting. Teams can set their own prices, and FRCTs will take care of the rest. Fill out a quote request or get more information when you schedule a callback at frcts.com. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs and their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first.